If you are an HVAC business owner and you are looking to start your organic social media journey, you have nowhere to start, you need to watch this video. A lot of HVAC owners will go and they'll sign on with a digital marketing agency, and the digital marketing agency will say, hey, we're gonna post on your social media 4 times a week, and we're gonna guarantee that we can get you new followers, which is gonna get you leads. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the reality is that is never going to happen. The days of just posting on organic social media, going viral, gaining a bunch of followers, and then gaining a bunch of leads is pretty much obsolete. It rarely happens, and you have to have a really good social media strategy for that to work. So today we're gonna be going through 10 different video ideas that you can implement today to get your social media journey started, and you can do it absolutely for free. I used to work at VaynerMedia, one of the largest digital marketing agencies in the world, and I did organic content for a small brand called Gillette. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Essentially, the strategy that we use is what I'm gonna be using today. So I'm really excited to show you this strategy, and it's really simple, and it goes just like this. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna sit down with a pen and paper, and you're gonna wanna write down 10 different ideas. Today, I've pre-generated 10 ideas. This can be your first list that you start with. Really, every single one of these videos don't need to be super different. Just try and think of like 10 interview questions that you would ask yourself, or you were sitting at a dinner table with a family member or a friend that was interested in your business, and you basically were explaining to them. If I was talking to a family member across the dinner table, what would they want to know about my business? What are the juicy, interesting details? What are the crazy stories? What are all of the different things that happen inside of my business that are actually interesting? That's where you want to start. One other disclaimer is just to give you a fair warning. When you start with the digital marketing agency and they sell you on this idea that they're going to be able to post on social media, get you followers, and get you leads, just know that that's probably not going to happen. The reality is there's probably 1, 2, 3 HVAC influencers in the entire space that are going to be getting leads from organic content. And those people usually have a really great personality. They're usually doing it themselves because they're on the jobs all the time, or they have a team following them around. They have a lot of resources that a digital marketing agency just isn't going to be able to do. A digital marketing agency is usually going to have someone who can do graphic design, like Canva stuff. They might have a videographer that can come out and shoot once a month. Those things in the long term aren't going to be able to get you followers because they're not going to be able to be with you all the time, and they're not going to be able to shoot with you and capture those little moments. Highly encourage you use a digital marketing agency to run ads and run ads only. So let's hop into this list. The first one I would write down is really simple. I would just make an intro or a founder's video. So basically I would sit down in front of my camera and basically just give a rundown of why I started my business. Why is working in this space important to me? Maybe I'm part of a family-owned business, and my relationship with my father or mother that started this business really have made an impact on me. Maybe it's the fact that I love working with homeowners, or maybe it's the fact that I love working outdoors. I love helping people with immediate problems and making sure that their house is cold. Whatever it is, just sit down and talk to the camera and basically just give them a rundown. Make it very genuine. We don't need anything crazy. Just sit down and talk to the camera. The second thing, this one's gonna seem a little bit more cliche, something that a digital marketing agency probably would generate for you anyway, and that's to give a homeowner 3 different tips on how to keep their AC in good condition, or how to keep their heater in good condition. And basically just exposing those habits, using your educational authority against your consumer. Much like the video I'm making right now, just basically give them education on your space. I mean, you're the authority on the space, so if you are the one that's giving them all of those tips, eventually when they have a breakdown or they have something that they can't do or is out of their control, you're going to be their go-to. Doing 3 tips is really easy. Just write them down. The next thing is to create a series. So this one will actually be multiple videos. So if you're doing any commercial jobs with big franchises, like a Jimmy John's or like a McDonald's or anything like those that need HVAC for those businesses, or you're just doing a local business that's like easily recognizable, if you could just film all of the HVAC that you are doing in that system, usually those places are under a remodel and the local community is interested in those buildings. Those are the ones that are driving around and they're like, ooh, I wonder what's going on in that building. You can be kind of that eye inside of that area by going around and just filming the work that you're doing. It's a really interesting strategy to pursue, and you could also do multiple videos, basically going through the process of how you're installing all of this AC, especially on those commercial units that take more time. Next one, number 4. This one's gonna be a little bit more controversial, but the more feathers that you ruffle, the more attention you're gonna get in social media. That's just kind of how it works, and I'm sure you've seen it, right? Like all of the political stuff gets shown up on your feed again and again and again. So if you can kind of play into that by telling people the worst AC unit brands you can kind of be the authority in that space, basically exposing all of the brands that are not going to be good AC unit options. It puts you as the authority and puts you in a place of trust because you're actually telling people the truth versus referring something out that you get some kind of kickback on. Number 5, tell the story of the craziest customer that you've ever had. Just go through that whole story. People love hearing stories, and they love hearing it specifically from business owners because you're the one that's seeing multiple people throughout the day. So you're gonna have a more likelihood of having a crazy, juicy story, right? So let's play into that by actually talking about a crazy story that you have encountered. Number 6, you're gonna wanna talk about habits that people should break so that their AC doesn't break down. This is kind of similar to keeping the tips, but people like things phrased in different ways. And when we get to this step where I explain what to do after you post all these videos, it'll make a lot of sense. But the idea here is essentially, even if it's the same information, if you phrase it differently, there's a likelihood that it might actually perform better, even if it's the same information because of the way you phrased it in the beginning. It's all about that hook. So if you can change up that hook and give the same information, I'm not saying use the same video because that'll sound a little bit redundant and people don't want to see the same video twice. But if you're telling the same tips again and again, there's nothing wrong with that. Moving in that same direction, number 7, we're going to talk about a customer that we really like. So instead of talking about your craziest customer story, if you're really loving this customer and they're really connecting with you and you feel like this would be a good time for you to be like, hey, let me pull out my phone and let's film like a quick little testimonial and just talk about your experience. If you just get them to sit there and talk about their experience, not only can they upload that to their Google review, which will do super well for you, but you also can post that on your social media. It'll build a lot of trust with your customers actually seeing someone versus just reading a review online. So I would highly recommend doing something like this, and it's really easy. Number 8, back into ruffling other people's feathers. All I want you to do is pull out your phone and talk about the reason why HVAC is so expensive. That's probably your biggest objection that you get out in the field is why is this so expensive? So let's go head to head with that objection and people will want to watch it. They want to know why is it so expensive. Furthermore, it kind of primes your customers that if they're going to have a big bill coming to them, you can explain to them and kind of have practice as to why it's so expensive. It's a really good piece of content and I would definitely recommend doing something like that. Number 9, expose something that people do themselves with their AC units or with their heaters that they should really have done by a professional because it ends up screwing up their AC unit in the long run. If you can do this, you will basically be kind of the authority in the space by telling people, you know, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be DIYing this, and this is why you will screw it up. Not only will you prime a better customer for you in the long run, but also it kind of sets you as the authority in that space by saying, hey, you shouldn't do this. Number 10, what's one thing you would never do with your AC system if you were a homeowner? Again, in that same spirit, it's similar to number 9 and number 2, but the idea here is just to have different hooks so that people understand it. All right, now that we're done with that list and we've gone through those 10 different ideas, I've literally handed you these 10 different ideas for your niche. You have no excuse but to go out, film all of these, and then post them. So I want you to film them all in one go because if you film them separately, you're gonna get burnt out because you're not gonna get any views in the beginning and then you're gonna get really frustrated as to why it's not working. Now that you've filmed your 10 videos, you've got them ready to go, I want you to just post them one after another every day. So you're gonna post it for 10 solid days. At the end of day 10, you're gonna look at all of your views. The idea here is not to go viral. I wanna be very clear. What you wanna do is you wanna look at the views and the engagement, the likes, the comments, everything on each video. And I want you to think of which ones are the ones that are doing best. Which ones are the ones that resonated with my customer and with my audience. I'm gonna warn you, the views are gonna be really low. The engagement is gonna be really low. But if we can see that something has 2 likes versus 1 like, we know that double the amount of people liked that piece of content than the other one, right? So let's say I posted all 10 videos. And videos 5, 7, and 10 are the ones that did really well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at those and I'm gonna say, okay, how can I take those 3 video ideas and turn those into 10 more video ideas? So I'm gonna scrap the rest and then I'm gonna keep those 3 and expand them into 10. For example, let's take number 5. Tell your craziest customer story. That's the one that did really. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna think of 3 more crazy stories. Let's say I can't think of 3 crazy stories. I'm gonna go to my technicians and ask them what their crazy story is and have them do it. And then I'm just gonna keep going again and again and again. And until I have squeezed every ounce of toothpaste out of this toothpaste roll. That is how you start your organic social media strategy. It's not super hard. You can do it. I believe in you. If you're interested in having digital marketing services, click the link below, Rapid Media Co. We work exclusively with HVAC business owners and we help them grow. We don't have any crazy strategies, none of that BS. We get you long-term customers so that during your slow seasons, you actually have something to do. Your service guys aren't sitting around twiddling their thumbs. If you're interested, click the link below. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get more content specifically for HVAC owners. That's the only one I make content for.